To discuss developments in Zimbabwe and its implications for the stability of the region, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the former Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Joe Keshi from Abuja. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Well, good evening. How do you describe what transpired today? In your assessment, was it a coup or not?
That's a very interesting question, but you know the popular saying that if it talks like a duck, walk like a duck, and sing like a duck, it's a duck. What has happened in Zimbabwe has all the characteristics of a coup, not just in the making, but a successful coup. When the military occupies the airport, occupies the broadcasting stations, surrounds the president's house, what else is left? They've virtually taken over the country. And I think this is what we've seen. But I also suspect that the military leadership, they're also playing a very clever or very intelligent game in order not to invoke international condemnation and reprisals. They decided to say that this is not a coup, but a way of resolving some of the crises that has engulfed the nation in the last couple of days.
Well, what the military...
So I think whether you look at it as a coup or not a coup, the fact is that we are witnessing the end of the Mugabe regime.
Well, what they're saying is that they're trying to rid the country and the president of the criminals around him. Those are the words they use. Now, are they actually taking charge of Zimbabwe's political future, or could this be a bigger problem down the line?
Well, it could be both. But from what we are saying today, look, for the past 24 hours, we've not heard the president. The military has virtually been in control of the country itself. And there are talks of forming an interim, national government. And a couple of names have been suggested to lead, the country, perhaps a period of 5 years or for a few years and before a general election. So whatever be the case, again, I repeat that this is probably the end we've seen of Mugabe that has occupied the stage for 37 years.
Does it surprise you at all that no African leader, even let's look at their closest neighbor, South Africa, none of them have actually condemned what the military have done? Rather, they're calling for calm and saying there should be no unconstitutional change, but no outright condemnation of the military. Does that surprise you?
Not really. But again, you must understand that in spite of the shortcomings of Robert Mugabe, that there are quite a number of people around the continent and in Zimbabwe itself that have admiration and sympathy for the man as a revolutionary hero who fought for the independence of Zimbabwe. The second thing I think is that people are treating him out of respect, not only because of his age, but because of the role he's played in the country and in the liberation struggle all these years. And in saying that, one also regrets, that Mugabe would have seen the handwriting on the wall, and many years ago, perhaps taking that decision himself, to begin to create a group of successors and begin to plan his exit one way or the other. But now it's regrettable that he has to go this way, very shamefully. But in a situation where the old guard around him now feel that not just their position is strengthened by the desire of the wife to rule, the sacking of the popular, vice president who belongs to the old brigade, all these have precipitated the crisis. But we must hold the president himself fully responsible for what is happening in Zimbabwe today. It's not the criminals around him, but the president. He is the leader. He's expected to have the wisdom to know that at 89, he can certainly not continue and begin to make plans for a successful transition to a new regime.
All right, former Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Joe Keshi, thanks for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.